Sure. Barbarian Horde, it is your main man. I come back today with a relevant, wonderful television show to talk about that's certainly going to enhance your gaming experience, something that you could certainly acquire seeds for a role-playing game in. This is going to concentrate more from away from the fantasy to the modern urban horror, to definitely useful for a vampire, the Masquerade type of game. It is called What We Do in the Shadows. It is on FX. It's based off of the movie by the same name. I'm not talking about the movie, although I will in the review a bit. This is a television show based off the movie on FX, currently in season 1. It is absolutely fantastic. It is a mockumentary. Basically, you have a group of vampires that are being followed around by a camera crew, and I mean, it is very, very funny. If you've seen the movie, it's kind of the same deal, except they're not in Australia. They are in um, Staten Island in New York, in America. It's based on the show by Jermaine Clement of Flight of the Conchords, the bigger of the two Conchord guys with the gap in the front of his teeth. He played a vampire in the initial series. None of those characters are in this show. However, he is the executive producer, as well as a occasional director slash script writer um, for the show as well. So he's very involved with the television show. He's just not on the television show, at least not as of yet. Obviously, that could change in the movie. He's the main character in the movie. His whole thing with the Beast. I mean, which of course is revealed to be his ex girlfriend. I mean, they do a whole thing. The the song in the front of the show is absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to find the name of it here. I didn't really do any research. Um, it is a great song for it. They show the characters through like a long period of time. Like they show like these old paintings of them, and what you have is a married couple that are vampires. The female vampire embraced the male vampire, and they both have this like relationship going back with this like really old vampire who looks like a Nosferatu, but that's apparently what they make their old vampires look like, and he apparently does not have genitalia. I mean, by relationship, I mean they had relations with him, and so very funny. It has a lot of funny stuff in it. It's the kind of show that could be done horribly wrong. It's the kind of show that you could have seen like on the CW and just just bristlingly horrible. And it's the kind of show that could have been on the Sci-Fi Channel and just been like somebody get punched in the eye, horrible. But the comedy is spot on. Uh, it's just it really hits on all cylinders in a way that I think that a lot of people who want to nurture that inner goth child or want to acquire some stuff for like a Vampire the Masquerade game or something similar to that would really enjoy. If you like the vampires, I think you're really going to enjoy it. They really present it in a way like with it's a good package. Um, if you've seen the movie, the show is much better. That is to say, and I like the movie a lot. If you like the movie a lot, it's fantastic. Some of the things that they didn't really bring out, oh, excuse me, um, didn't really bring out that well in the movie. Due to time constraints, due to maybe that just being the first opportunity they had to access, exploit, and play with this genre, they were able to do much better. Oh, I think I'm allergic to this review. Hopefully you won't be. Um, Excuse me, I had to blow my nose there. Get um, hopefully get past that. Whatever allergen was causing that episode there. So it's hard to say one of my favorite, which character is my favorite at the moment. I think because all of them kind of bring something different. The And I should have been prepared with character names and stuff. But I mean, you know me, I kind of do things by the seat of my pants and don't really do research or editing or any of that sort of thing that other people for some reason waste time. um, Probably why they get a lot more views. But the married couple, the male character, he so they have all kinds of powers. They have vampire powers, and one of the powers they can turn into a bat or other animals. And it seems like the shape shifting ability might be kind of like the older and stronger the vampire is, maybe the better it gets. That's sort of the sense I have. A lot of that is still a little murky. But all of them can turn into bats. I know that. And when he turns into a bat, he goes, bat! He says bat before he turns. The other ones don't do that. He's bat! And it's fantastic how it works. It looks like, it almost looks like it looks like something gets shot out of his face. Like you had a gun, and by the time your eyes kind of pick up, like the bat is like 5, 8 feet in front of, and it's just like, kind of special effect. They have the special effect budget is just good enough to cover all the vampire stuff. They do have werewolves in the world. The special effects stuff in the werewolves it's not good, but it doesn't really need to be. And the werewolves are a little on the sillier side. We also have ghouls. They call ghouls familiars. Um, and it's really funny. Like the one vampire, he has this familiar. Was it Guillermo? Guillermo's like familiar's name too. He's the only character's name I remember, so you can see occasionally, the guy's doing a hell of a job. And Guillermo's been a familiar for 10 years, and the vampire like celebrating like, oh, it's a special day, and today, you're familiar, and Guillermo's like, yes, and he thinks the master's going to make him a vampire, and this is the other vampire. I guess he's like the single vampire. He's not the one that's part of the couple. And they all live together, so they'd be like a coterie of the three of them living there. And then I'll tell you what else they live with. I'll bring that up in a minute. And Guillermo's like thinking it's his 10th anniversary that he's gonna be made a vampire. The master, been hitting and this, and the master has a party. He's like, yeah, great, 2 years of being a familiar, Guillermo. And Guillermo's like, it's 10. The master's like, oh, really? You sure? So I mean that was absolutely fantastic. He's really kind of, I don't know, more like of a Dracula figure. Like he's just this old He's not super old, but he's like older than the other two. He's tough, but like he's not. I don't know. If you watch the show, you can understand like how his personality kind of meshes in. He has. It really is a great character. Like there's the time when he's like letting Guillermo, like he's holding Guillermo up, so it looks like Guillermo's flying, and they have to be invited into places, which I think that's a big ball that Vampire the Masquerade dropped. I think vampires, having looked at it, and with the True Blood, like you see the vampire being invited in, and then I rescind permission, and vampires like trying to get out of the place like to a supernatural degree, as fast as they can. I think that gives you so many more tools to work with. I think that is really a fantastic weakness, and I think I would I think I would strongly recommend an initial modern fantasy doing vampires with that weakness. I think that's even better than the stake or the sunlight. I think that's really a way to go. And sometimes like the way they have to ask is sometimes like kind of funny, and they dress like in this old. They dress like a vampire would dress, right? And they show like other vampires there, and those vampires aren't dressed like that. The other vampires are fucking with them, and it's hilarious how they, because they're just dressed like normal people, and they're walking around with these flowing capes and stuff like that, and and the female vampire, she's so crazy, and it's just fantastic. I mean, she so far, like her acting has probably been the best. I'm really kind of gravitating towards her character. I think she's, but really all of them, like all of them are, um, all of them are just really doing a fantastic job. So, uh, they had a fight with the werewolves, and the way they beat the werewolves was ridiculous. But he's like, you see Guillermo, and like he's flying with him and stuff and doing things, and Guillermo, like, he keeps thinking he's going to get turned into a vampire. And like, sometimes, like, he'll make jokes. And then Guillermo will start laughing. He goes, no, not you. You don't laugh, Guillermo. Only the vampires laugh at this. You sit there. And Guillermo's like, oh. So, that's like, but he's not, like, super heavy-handed. Like, he doesn't, like, kill him or anything. He's like, no, you don't do that. Like, he's disciplining him. And, it's really funny. I think if you like Vampire the Masquerade, I think it would be a helpful tool for learning a bit more about how you could play vampires, and like how some of the things, like some of the anachronistic ways that a lot of people try to play vampires, or how their vampires look, like they're this dressed up like that, and they are like, it's funny because this is a lot of people's Vampire the Masquerade characters. It's these guys, and this is how they really would look. You'd have. I remember there is a line in one of the Vampire Masquerade books about, the harpies falling on the floor laughing at vampires that act like and dress like this, like they just walked out of Blade, or they've walked out of, oh god, what was the Anne Rice movie? Interview the Vampire, they're all dressed, and that's how they look like they're dressed in Interview the Vampire movie, but it's like current day, and they walk around the city and they interact. They aren't away from it. They aren't encapsulated. They're interacting um, with it, and that's what it derives so much comedy um, from them just acting the way that they act, and they hiss a lot, and things like that, and I think. And I definitely want to really drive this home. It might sound like, from what I'm saying, it comes across cheesy. It doesn't. It hits, at least for me, that real sweet spot. And that's kind of the way the movie came across from a lot of people that I've talked to about that. I haven't really had an opportunity to talk to anyone else that's watched the show yet, other than Grumman. And I think that, yeah, he likes it. So, if you couldn't hear him, he was throwing his 2 cents in there. Um, I think that anyone that likes that sort of thing is probably going to like this show a lot. I mean, it could be one of your favorite television shows. So I really wanted to pass that along to you and the Horde, and uh, let you know that might be something that not only would you like, you might really enjoy it. I'm trying to think in terms of clan, because I mean, in a way, they're I don't know. It's hard to say. The oldest one seems like he would be a bourgeois, but like he has no temper at all, like at all. Um, and the other two would be the same thing, but I don't know. One of them is artistic, is the Shrubbery Gardens, and maybe two of them are. Yeah, I could see the couple both being Toreadors, and maybe the other guy is a bourgeois, and he's sort of softened because he has like a name like the Terrible or something like that. Because I think he's supposed to be sort of Dracula-ish, Vlad the Impaler-ish, like where he's killed a lot of people. Um, I'm just trying to get you the names here. Yeah, it's the guy played by Kaven Novak. So, oh, here we go. Ah, no, unfortunately, it's giving me the information for the movie here. Um, but they also have a psychic vampire character in there that's, I guess, really the straight man of the group. So his stuff, it kind of bounces. It's kind of funny. And, I mean, he has real powers. Like, they show him at times like kind of like levitating, and they show like he drains people. So like, but he's working in an office, and what a psychic vampire is. I don't know where the term originally comes from. I think it comes from Anton LaVey. That's the first time I ever encountered it. Reading through his stuff, which um, a psychic vampire is basically like a person that is just like, they're just so draining. Like a horrible person in the office that just has to tell you these stories that go on and just take, or some old woman that just down the street and just wants to just rope you into some nonsense, and you just leave feeling like the life has been sucked out of you. And in like the vampire cultures, some people, they've taken these words without understanding, without understanding history or the relevance of them. No, think that that's what they are. We kind of the South Park did a good episode on that. We're making fun of the little vampire kids. And unfortunately, even kind of way before that. I mean, we're going back to like the mid '90s, early '90s. I was seeing some stuff like that. Yeah, I guess early '90s. The first time I encountered the people that were way too into that culture. Identifying way too much with this sort of thing, and it's kind of making fun of that aspect of it too, with the psychic vampire. And he finds a girl that's like a psychic vampire too, but she's like an emotional vampire. Um, her name is Evie, Evie for emotional vampire, and it's great because these are real people out there. I mean, like the term of psychic vampire, it's for a real person, not a person with powers. It's a person that I guess in a way has a power to be a horrible drain on you, a horrible time with someone that you should completely X out of your life and avoid. Um, who's probably not rehabilitatable, who just wants to just suck the life out of you. And I mean, fortunately, I don't work in a profession where, I mean, I guess in a way, because I work in a profession with lots of clients, so I meet all kinds of people, but I don't have to. I don't have to be in an office setting. I mean, if you're in an office setting, I feel bad for you. I have a cubicle or whatever that. So it's the one thing in high school. It's like that's what I do not want to have. That'd be my employment hell. I mean, it might be fine for you. I'm not trying to joke your life or anything. But to me, that uh, it would be a very poor fit for my personality. Let's put it that way. Um, but they show him there, and he has like he has certain uses to him. First of all, he'll talk about he's a day walker, and he's like, yo, they talk about they always emphasize the day part, but there is a lot of walking involved too. I just started talking to the vampires, and they're all like sitting there, and they're all on a bus together. And they're like, bat! And the one guy yells bat, and all three of them flipping the bats, and they're up on top. Like, so they go up on top of the bus, and they're riding up on top of it, so where he can't get to them. They can't stay there anymore. Um, and he lives with them, like I guess somehow it's part of their coterie. And they show pictures of him, which is that's one of the funnier parts. Like they'll show pictures of the vampires, and they'll be like ancient, and then they even show like an '80s one where they're like all like I don't know, look like they'd gone to see like Duran Duran in concert or something, and that's fantastic. And but all his pictures are the same. It's just like a different tie or a different suit. It's like he wears like ties a suit, but like cheap stuff, like really like low end off the rack stuff. That's his character. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if the show would be better or worse without him, but it is interesting. Um, the stuff where they linger on him a little too long is probably the worst stuff in the show, in my opinion. But there's definitely comic value in him for sure, and I think that going forward, he's probably a good inclusion because he's going to give them a lot. The more episodes of a show you have, the more you need to be able to do, and I think he's going to give them an engine to be able to do a lot of different stuff. Um, So, anyway, leave in the comments below if you watch the show, if you like the show, what you think about it, if you like the movie. And again, if you like the movie, I think you're gonna like the show better because I think a lot of the things in the movie that they ironed out a little bit better. Um, I will say in the movie, I think my favorite part. Well, I had two parts that I loved. I loved where Jermaine, where they finally kind of reveal the beast. We're like, beasts. And it's supposed to be like this is an ancient rival, but it's like his ex girlfriend because of the beast, and then like she's like fighting with him, and they're at this like ball. And there they had other stuff. They had witches and zombies and stuff like that in the movie. So they probably bring that to the TV show as well, I suppose. But they might bring it in later. Um, but one of the characters in the movie had a familiar, and his familiar ends up getting embraced by the new vampire that they made, and the new vampire, and like he's like yelling at him, "Oh, you can't just go and embrace somebody, my body's familiar or whatever." But they call it embrace, but I mean whatever they called it. And then now, so she's a vampire, and now, but she's married. She got a husband, and she's like, yeah, I really love my husband, but the dynamic has changed. He's my familiar now, and you know, I'm the boss and all this stuff. And she's even like telling him, she's like, you have to do this and that. I'm your boss now. And he's like, oh yeah, I know. So it was that moment in the movie. It was just very very funny. Um, and that might even be the best way for you to do it because I mean, it's what like 90 minutes in the movie, maybe a little more than that. Maybe give the movie a shot first, or just try watching a TV show. You do need to watch it in order. You're gonna get lost if you pick up like episode 5 or something. It's not gonna be good for you. You're gonna have missed some of the nuance you need to understand the characters, and it's just gonna be a bad feel all around. So, watch them in order. Start with episode 1, or start with the movie. I think you can watch the movie in any order with the episodes. Um, it's I think it could go anyway, as they haven't introduced any of those characters from the movie into the television show, and it was an Australian movie, so I doubt that they will. I mean that would be my strong feeling. Again, it has Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. The guy that was in Flight of the Conchords, it was the band's manager. He played one of the werewolves, the leader of the werewolves, um, and he also played the bridge guy in the new Voltron reboot. Um, I think you guys will like it. Give it a shot. Tell me if you think in the comments below.